What's up everyone? Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm up in the middle of Norway somewhere, and I found something very special I want to share with you. So yeah, basically before we get started on this car, I want to kind of rewind a little bit and talk about why this thing is special to me. Back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, this was before YouTube, before social media and everything. The only way to get any sort of media coverage on the tuning scene from Japan was either magazines or like VHS videotapes. So for me, I was always buying heaps of magazines, buying heaps of videos like Max Power, the High Octane videos from New Zealand, but also another really cool series was the High Performance Imports DVDs. Now you can watch all of these online actually still, which is awesome. But in these videos are basically a couple of Australian guys who are very well known now. They would kind of go to Japan, they would go to different tuning houses, they would go to events as well. And one of the awesome things in those videos was when they'd go to the drag events in Japan. Drag racing in Japan was huge back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. This was kind of before the whole drifting phenomenon started, I guess. And at these events you'd kind of find everything. You'd find S chassis there, MR2s, Supras, rotaries, but like the king of drag racing in Japan was of course the GTR. So basically back in Japan in those days, there was a very competitive drag racing scene. A lot of the big tuning workshops there are all kind of competing against each other on getting the best times, getting the best times with certain size turbos as well. But one of the most well-known shops in Japan was a place called Endless. Endless, I believe, is located in Kobe in Japan. They're really well known for building high horsepower drag GTRs. Probably more well known now for doing R35s, but they have built a very fast R33, which I believe is featured in those High Performance Imports videos, and a couple of R32s. This is probably the most well known R32. So yeah, basically a little bit about the car. Obviously R32 Skyline. Now this thing is built purely for drag racing. Its best time so far I believe is a 9.3 at 157 miles per hour. Which when you look at the stats of this car is actually kind of slow, but Endless mentioned on their website that that was done on a cold day, there was no grip, and it was also on a low boost setting as well. If you look at Japanese videos too, their tracks are not like what we have in Australia or America either, so I mean this thing would probably go 8 seconds with the right conditions. Here we'll look at the body of the car. Fiberglass boot, rear glass is plexi. This is normal glass, all plexi side glass, plexi front glass as well. All the doors are all fiberglass and all been stripped out too. Maximum lightweight. This thing only weighs 1,200 kilograms, so it's very light for a GTR. And carbon bonnet as well. So the other thing that makes this really cool too is Hollinger 6-speed transmission. Good old Australian made Hollinger. Once again, old school, but does the job. ATS front and rear, LSDs, HKS triple plate clutch, and then also a Pexi drag suspension as well. But what is also crazy about this is the ECU that it's using. Just your old school FCON Gold ECU, which is crazy to see. And when you look at the wiring down there, kind of typical Japanese, I guess. Perfect B boost controller as well. So yeah, once again, all very old school tech and so cool. So yeah, being a drag car, of course, is one thing you want to see, and that is the engine, of course, and that's kind of what makes this car so special. So this actually uses a HKS high deck engine block. These are incredibly rare. It's a 2.8 litre, specially made by HKS. So only about 20 of these were ever made, and who knows how many more of them are left in the world right now. It's also got HKS forged pistons, HKS billet long stroke conrods, HKS billet crankshaft, spacer plate as well. The block is reinforced, all the water jackets are filled. Basically, these things are good for about 1500 horsepower and said to rev to about 13,000 RPM, so perfect for drag racing. Yeah, so this was the exact same block used on the R33 drag car. If you've played Gran Turismo, you know exactly what car that is. Next, we cannot go past this huge turbo here. If you've followed ever drag racing, you kind of know what this is. This is a Truss T88 38 GK. More of your old school turbocharger, but it does the job. Good for about 1,000 horsepower. But yeah, as you can see, it's basically old school Japanese muscle, but there's a few things that surprise me, like, you know, back then there weren't any special coil packs using split fire coil packs. This looks like the OEM Nissan coil pack harness as well, which is crazy. When you think 10 years ago, there wasn't a whole lot of technology available. Like in the past 5 years, I guess, the technology has exploded, especially for RBs. So it really is cool to see an engine like this that was built back then, and you know, it still works. Like they had it on the dyno here, and it made about 900 horsepower. They've lowered the boost a little bit on it just to make it a bit more reliable. Yeah, apparently the deal was that this car was actually going to be turned into a time attack car, but then they realized it just had too much power, and it just has been sitting in a shed for about 10 years, which is crazy to think of, but kind of cool that it's been kept in the original condition, that it, you know, it hasn't been chopped up or changed or anything. So yeah, really awesome. So yeah, the other thing with this car is it is for sale right now. So I'll put the description and the link for how you can buy it in the description. It is here in Norway, but I'm sure the seller is more than happy to help with shipping. Basically, I'm sure something like this would be very cool to have in Australia. I mean, I know the Australian drag racing scene is so huge right now, so it'd be kind of cool to have some old school Japanese muscle there, mixing it up with all the new innovative technology from Australia. So yeah, if anyone out there wants an 8-second X-Drag Japanese car, get in touch.